Mario Maker is one of the biggest games for the community and just Mario fans all over. It's endless possibilities, and the community can create some seriously awesome things with the tools that Nintendo gives us. And can you believe that it's almost 4 years since Mario Maker 2 released on the Nintendo Switch? This June, actually next month, in a couple of weeks, we will be 4 years away from Mario Maker 2. Now, Mario Maker 1 to Mario Maker 2 was also just about 4 years, and it looks like we might be approaching another Mario Maker very soon in the form of Mario Maker 3. Now, before I actually dive in and talk about everything that Mario Maker 3 could bring to the table, I want to focus today on a smaller subsection, or I guess maybe just one big subsection as to what this game could actually be about. And we've talked about this before, but yet again, I'm going to bring it back up. A Mario Maker 3D, or 3D Mario Maker. I think this would be just an absolutely perfect thing to add to the Nintendo Switch, and today I'm going to go over once again why I think this would be such a good idea and why I think it could be happening sooner than we think, especially with the future of 3D Mario, and I'll explain what I mean here in a second. Mario Maker has done some really great things and added some really cool items and power-ups as well, making the endless possibilities even more endless, and Mario Maker 2 definitely didn't double down on the enemies and objects that they could add to the levels, but still, people are noticing that there's very specific enemies and also items and objects from past Mario games that still are not in Mario Maker and still wanted future updates. So honestly, Nintendo could easily make a Mario Maker 3, keeping it in that 2D style. But that's not what today is about. Today is about 3D Mario Maker. How could that actually translate to an actual video game? Could Nintendo actually do this? Would this work out? Two games I like to bring up is Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury and also Mario 64. Because I feel like both of these games are very much known for having floating blocks and floating platforms in the sky that allows Mario to platform and get to an obstacle. We can see tons of these little missions in Bowser's Fury specifically where Mario has to run through an obstacle course in order to get the cat shine. And I think this is a great example of how a 3D Mario Maker would work. You don't need to worry about extreme level design and environments or anything like that. You pretty much pick any environment that's already preset, like a water level or some type of jungle or a desert, whatever you want, and you just kind of place blocks and floating platforms within the airspace, and you test them out and see if Mario can reach each one, the jumps and stuff required to reach each one, and kind of just make your own level from that, where you just have tons of floating platforms that lead to an eventual star that you place in the level. Of course, it's the fact of, can the Nintendo Switch handle something like this? I definitely think it can if they just dumb it down, because seriously, they don't need to make this extremely difficult. They could dumb this down to the T. Just literally have a floating sky like you can see in this scene in Mario 3D World, and just let you add any type of colored blocks or platforms that your heart desires. And people can make pretty much their own little obstacle courses. It'll be a way to not necessarily make a new 3D Mario, but more of mini missions or obstacle courses. In fact, a lot of Mario games actually have levels like this. Even Mario Odyssey had levels without Cappy where you had to get through a bunch of moving blocks and shapes that were floating in the sky. We've also seen this in Super Mario Sunshine, where there was lots of floating platforms and blocks, but Mario didn't have FLUDD as his backup platforming help. And we've even seen stuff like this in Mario Galaxy, where some of the missions require Mario to get through some type of small area by platforming or using an available item. So it's something that I can definitely see happening within Super Mario Maker, giving creators the option to place objects and blocks and shapes in a big space. It's not a fact of can Nintendo do this. We've seen games in the PS1, PS2 era with track builders and tons of stuff very similar to this in a 3D space. I think Nintendo could easily do this and allow players to do this. Obviously, just like Mario Maker right now, the player will have to be able to finish their own creation before they can upload, but yeah, just placing blocks in any order in any way that you want and coming up with unique and clever ways that players can reach the star. And of course, seeing how players come up with their own unique ways to reach the star. Maybe they can do their own speedrunning tactics and wall jumps and kicks in order to reach that star in a way that the creator never intended. We've seen stuff like that with 2D Mario Maker, so seeing it in a 3D space truly does feel like it's going to be the definition of endless, because there's just so much possibility to do with a 3D Mario game. Maybe you can also choose if the camera is just one that stays put in Mario 3D World style, or more of a free roam camera like Bowser's Fury or Mario Odyssey. I think there's so much potential for this, and I think Nintendo can really come up with some cool ways to allow players to make some 3D levels without going super crazy. Like, look at all of these levels I'm showing you with the Mystery House Mayhem stages in Mario 3D World. You don't really need a background. This one's just a sky, and then sometimes it changes to a night sky, and sometimes it's just some hills in the background. That's all they need to do for the actual theming, and just let us put down platforms based on that theme. For instance, here's some desert platforms with a desert theme, and you can't even really tell because the background is just skies. Look, we are not trying to create the next huge 3D Mario adventure game. We are just simply trying to make some fun 3D platforming challenges and levels with the Mario engine that we currently have in different games, maybe like 3D World or Odyssey, and I think there could be some really cool things going on, especially if it was based on Odyssey. Could you imagine allowing us to create 3D levels where we can also capture different enemies and base our levels around those captures? I mean, seriously, we can make some amazing missions ourselves and never need anything from Nintendo 3D Mario related again. Now, I want to stress once again, this isn't going to be something massive that replaces 3D adventure Mario games. Not at all. In fact, that's why I wanted to bring this up. I feel like Nintendo has been working on something huge for Mario. Something big, something different, something that's going to change the franchise forever. I'm talking the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom of the Mario franchise. Maybe giving Mario an extremely huge Mushroom Kingdom or world to explore, where he can visit any kingdom in any world just by going to it, would be really cool. And I've been talking about how this could be a reality very soon, but if that did actually happen, it would be a great way for Nintendo to keep old school 3D platforming Mario to like a 3D Mario Maker, where the fans can actually make their own missions and own levels. And I just think this would be a very good idea. Look, I think Mario Maker is definitely here to stay, and I think they're going to have many, many years of fun Mario Maker games, and they can definitely keep going in the 2D space. I still think there's a lot of cool items and objects they could add, but eventually it is going to get to the point where they're kind of going to run out of game styles and different things to add, where eventually we're going to have as many enemies that we want. We're going to see as many things that we could possibly see from past Mario games, and then Nintendo might eventually start running out of ideas for 2D Mario. So I think literally the endless possibilities of 3D Mario could be insane, and I really hope Nintendo takes that in consideration, and maybe one day we'll actually see a proper 3D Mario Maker game. But of course, like always, let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. Do you think we could actually ever see a 3D Mario Maker? But also today, guys, I want you to do me a big favor here. First, leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Mario Maker and Mario in general. And second, leave a comment down below what you want to see in the next Mario Maker game. This could be something with a 2D style, something with 3D, some type of items that you want to add, objects that you want to add. It could be absolutely anything. But tell me what you feel like Mario Maker 3 should have and what it should be about, and I could make a whole video on that and include you in your comment as well. So make sure you be specific, make sure you be original and creative, and you could appear in the next video. But thank you so much for tuning in, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.